Now, many might disagree with the title of the video or my opinions that I'm about to give about KonoSuba, an explosion on this wonderful world. We're talking about episodes 7 and 8, and honestly for me, this is the funniest that KonoSuba as a series has been since, honestly, Season 1. Season 1 to me is my favorite section of the KonoSuba story. I love Season 2. I mean, I'm not discrediting other comedy moments, but for me, the hardest I've laughed is like the first half of Season 1, and honestly, Season 1 in its entirety is one of the easiest rewatches for me because of how hard I laugh out loud. But when you have Megumi go to a village and gets roped into the Axis cult garbage BS interrogation, basically, any group that worships Aqua, you're in for a good time. And this character, Zesta, he probably should be arrested. He should probably have a lot of charges laid on him. But the comedy that comes with him roping in our girl into doing these ways of getting more worshippers or stealing toilet paper or just being the insane goofballs you kind of expect. And once Yunyun joins in, it just gets even crazier. So by the time they leave and they part ways, these two episodes kind of feel like the same energy that the beginning of KonoSuba had to begin with, and I'm here for it. Full live reaction to both of these episodes are available on my Patreon if you do want to see my full uncut thoughts to either episode 7 or 8. We're doubling up because honestly, as much as I'm loving this season, it feels like there's not a lot of discussion or engagement, so I mean, if you want to continue seeing weekly and not maybe double up videos, I mean, drop those comments, leave those likes, get this video popping off, because if it does well enough, we will go back to doing weekly. Otherwise, we'll have to do double ups or even triple ups, just because it seems like not a lot of people loving it as much as me, but I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, there is so many jokes to pick from that are just pure comedy gold. One of like the funniest, if not creepiest things is when Megumi eventually goes into the church, right? And they're all calling her lolly this, lolly senpai, all these terms. Zesta, this man, I love and hate him mixed into such one odd combination of emotions. In terms of, do I want to see him every episode? Sure, it would be comedy gold. But on a personal level, he rubs me the wrong way. He goes from basically asking to either have people sit on him or he can sit on you. He wants to suck toes. He's a predator, and he gets called that at multiple times, or gets alluded to at multiple times, and just to see the antics that not only just come from him, but like his right-hand woman, and the fact that in episode 8 as an example, so she ends up bathing with Megumi, right? She's very busty, but she is down bad, similar to pretty much any member of this cult seemingly. So she basically is like, ooh, this lolly this lolly that, and you can tell she wants something. She's also a sexual predator, let's be honest. Yet afterwards, the day that they're parting off, she's basically like, you know, we wouldn't just leave a child to fend for themselves. And I'm like, wait a second, let's rewind here. So you do look at her as a child, yet you'll bathe with her in that very, yeah, you know where they were trying to allude. I'm just like, these people have no damn shame. And when in episode 8, Zesta hands our girl a bag of money, that's basically the equivalent of settling a lawsuit for sexual harassment, because honestly, the shit he put her through is pretty much guaranteed that. And I love seeing them, whether it's in last week's episode where she's trying to help them in terms of getting more members to join their group. She honestly had good plans in terms of how she would stumble, pick up the apples, bump into someone, it's cute and adorable, and then this man completely ruins it by just huffing and panting, and he just seems like he's a hound dog, man. He's down bad. And honestly, I don't understand with how down bad this church seemingly is. They have more than enough members to get that frustration out of the way, but they just continue to pent it up seemingly, and we see the result of women running in fear of Zesta or other police officers saying, hey, let's have a chat back down at the station. And to see throughout the episode last week to then build into the worst person you want to try to lure in, Yunyun. Yunyun rolls her and just is so disappointed that I left you alone for a couple of days, and now I find you basically trying to recruit people to a cult. Like, what is wrong with you? And seriously, man, when Zesta gets arrested at the end of episode 7, I'm just thinking, good riddance. Honestly, throw anyone else in that role and you're probably going to be better. And honestly, I had to eat my own words, because in this latest episode, we see the people who are basically, they're launching their president campaigns on being the new leader. And one of these man has 3 things that he basically is campaigning on. The first of which, he's like, poly, we're doing it. You want to have poly relationships? Go ahead. Number 2 is where it gets, let me get my gun and we're gonna talk elsewhere. He's like, I'm gonna lower the age of marrying. And I'm like, hold up, my boy. You want to lower the age that people can get married? You sick bastard. And then he just ends with, and also incestuary, you know, if you want to be incest with your siblings, go ahead. Like, I honestly thought Zesta would be the worst that they could potentially have lead. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm kind of glad Zesta is actually getting back out, because honestly, as scummy as he is, there's worse people who potentially could be leading this cult. And honestly, it just cracked me up, man. The comedy, honestly, it just, the first like couple of minutes of episode 7, you just feel like you're back in KonoSuba season 1. The town design and everything, it just feels like you're right back at home. I loved what they've been doing over episodes 1 through 6, especially given how fast things were moving. I was like, damn, we're gonna be in the main KonoSuba show, in terms of timeline anyway, before we even reach episode 12. But there is a element and a charm about 7 and 8 that just feels like we're getting more and more comfy and into that familiar atmosphere of season 1. And honestly, I love that. Though I have to admit, that demon girl I continue to feel bad for, whether it's the village neat summoning his weeaboo brethrens and chasing her out of the town, to coming into this having to deal with yet again another creepy bastard who basically is pinning all of his sins on her, and just to see her run away crying. This man made the demon cry, made the police officers cry. He has no shame, and honestly, I'm here for it. Like, even if you don't think it's as funny as maybe some of the funniest of season 1 or season 2 or the movie, whatever is your personal funniest point in KonoSuba, you had to have at least cracked a smile once or twice over the past couple of episodes. I think they just really found an interesting way to make a spin-off feel so different than what you normally see from a spin-off. You get the kind of backstory with her village and more understanding of the Chunification, we'll put it, in terms of how she got the way she is. And then they quickly move her into a new setting where you're like, okay, this just kind of feels like an earlier stage of KonoSuba before meeting Kazuma and the gang. And honestly, with where they're going now, moving on to yet again another village, I mean, they could literally do anything, whether they show us the gang by the end of episode 12, or they just continue to keep on the trend of showing them in different situations. KonoSuba, an explosion on this wonderful world, is a fantastic addition to the KonoSuba franchise, and I would say is just as important as watching any of the main seasons or movies or anything, right? It just feels like it belongs in this timeline, and I'm loving it. But thoughts and feelings yourself, whether on episode 7 or 8, what did you think? Did you find it as funny as me? Let me know down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course ring that bell so you can get notified when I upload more KonoSuba on the channel, and like I mentioned, full live reactions are available to both these episodes on my Patreon. And while you're there, you can also get a video shoutout. So today, we have Jose, Lord Guy 66, Kevin, and Kyle Kowalchuk. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.